Ladies and gentlemen, Fox News is being forced to air the entire Iowa rally of former President Donald Trump. They would not have done so before letting Tucker Carlson go. They lost 50%, according to Newsweek and according to Fox News. Well, actually, no, not Fox News, but according to Newsweek and other publications, they lost 50% of their viewership after Tucker Carlson was let go, okay, in that time slot. They would not have aired the entire Iowa rally. Fox News, like MSNBC and CNN, up until recently with the town hall that was an unmitigated political disaster for Democrats. Trump, that was a political victory for former President Donald Trump for many reasons, the CNN town hall. He was actually allowed to speak, barely, but he was allowed to get his viewpoint across, the same viewpoint that 70-plus million Americans agree with. Okay, so Fox News, like all the other networks, has it out for Trump. But it's more of a surreptitious, nefarious type of relationship with Trump. They're not going to overtly go against him. But because they need, right now, the ratings, they're going to air the entire Iowa event. So, Fox News, Iowa Showdown, Trump and DeSantis hold competing 2024 events in Iowa. Now, we'll get into DeSantis in a second, but Fox News lost 50% of its viewership. They have to now treat Donald Trump in a manner they didn't want to, okay? Because they have Paul Ryan and others who really don't care about profit or revenue or advertising. They obviously don't care about ratings. So you have the same type of dynamic at CNN that you do, at Fox that you do at CNN. It's this idea, it's driven by ideology, not by profit, not by capitalism. Very bizarre, because you would think a conservative network would want to focus on capitalism. But CNN would rather go bankrupt. They would rather lose an audience than air Trump. And they keep saying he's disgusting, he's so disgusting. It's like, get over it. You think Biden is the most wonderful person on the planet? Okay. There are allegations against him that have never been leveled against Trump. And you have the entire American political establishment and all of media propping this man up. On the other hand, you have all of media and the entire political establishment against Trump, and still 70-plus million Americans choose him over mashed potato brains. So, I mean, Donald Trump doesn't even have Fox News. Think about that for a second, and hit subscribe to this channel to read my writing in the Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon, the Jerusalem Post, the Federalist, other publications. Go to hagoodman.com. The super thanks is below next to the like and the share buttons. My Patreon link is below. To my new Patreons, thank you. To the super thanks, thank you. He doesn't even have Fox News. Okay, so Donald Trump doesn't really have, I mean, you look, and does he have a publication? There are a couple publications out of hundreds. He maybe has a handful of publications that back him. Okay, Newsmax is better than Fox News, but at the end of the day, I'm not 100% sure. Does he have a network that really backs him? Maybe you could say Newsmax does, while Fox News barely supports him. To people on the left, they say, well, Fox News is an extension of the Republican Party. No, it's not. CNN and MSNBC are extended. There are no never Bidens. You will never get a never Biden, ever, at the Washington Post or New York Times or MSNBC or CNN or the New Yorker, the Atlantic. You will never, ever, or Vanity Fair, Esquire, Mother Jones, whatever, you will never get a never Biden. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. There are no never Bidens. Okay? There are never Trumpers. Trump is going up against the Republican Party that would rather have a Democrat. Okay? There's a reason for this. There's a two-party system that's really essentially a one-party system when it comes to war, military conflict, economics, and foreign policy. Okay, so there's you want to call it, two sides of the same coin. And then there's Trump. And then there's RFK Jr. And then there's Tulsi Gabbard. And then there's people who have their own view of the world. They are not beholden to a political party. I do not vote for Trump because I've just always voted Republican. Trump was the first Republican president I ever voted for because I want Americans brought home from military conflict. And he did that with the Doha Agreement that Biden completely botched. Okay, Democrats would never have implemented. They didn't even really want to at all. Actually, they didn't want to, which is why the whole thing was a catastrophe. And the whole world saw these atrocious images on the TV. So it's like, but again, there's a public relations machine. You saw the CNN town hall. They go after Trump. They despise him. I don't dislike Biden. I mean, I don't like, Biden's not a great human being at all. But, I mean, he's implicated in felonies with Hunter, according to the New York Post. There are emails implicating the current president with serious felonies, not an imaginary FEC fine that was levied at Clinton and the DNC, not at Trump. Trump was not fined, but Clinton and the DNC were fined by the FEC, but still he was indicted in New York. Okay, everybody knows that they're just going after him for political reasons. It's not about the rule of law. It's not about, they cheated Bernie Sanders. You'll hear that from me endlessly. And you've heard that from me. They cheated Bernie. And Bernie Sanders then just, it's unbelievable because he was going after Trump, Bernie Sanders. And I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post. And I was the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post back in the day. It's funny because you think economic justice, you think all of these like lofty terms and political, this political ideology. But we had record low poverty with Trump. What is wrong with that? What is it about today's world that people like with Biden, other than the media not melting down? One of the CNN journalists the other day, or reporters, said, "Oh well, why can't you have Chris Christie? You can have all the great things that with Trump." It's like, no, you can't. Chris Christie is not going to level tariffs at a country stealing intellectual property, the most populous country in the world, stealing intellectual property or dumping steel. He's not going to do that. When you have Democrats or the wonderful, highly educated, morally superior among us who want to shut down the economy at a moment's notice, you need a Trump to say, nah, that's not my policy. And people blame him, but it's like he doesn't have what Democratic governors had full control of their states. So Trump didn't squander anything his last year in terms of the economic performance. What is he supposed to do? He cannot control the actions of a Democratic governor. Okay, he was telling people to open up their economies, and of course he got hit pieces by all the publications saying, oh my God, he's defying experts. So, I mean, you can never win if you're Trump, even though you did win in terms of the economy and foreign policy. We brought home Americans. Our foreign policy was more limited than it is now. And really, I am against never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. This is the most vile, sinister type of foreign policy, in large part because we send our own people, Americans, men and women, to fight in battles that cannot be won. And you have Republicans and Democrats who don't care. And you have the morally superior who cares so much about the planet, but they don't care that Trump was better on foreign policy, at least in terms of a liberal sense. Trump had the liberal foreign policy compared to Biden. Okay, Biden still has the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld foreign policy. Okay? We wouldn't have the invasion in Europe with Trump. And we wouldn't be 90 seconds to midnight, according to the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists. So, a lot of it is media-driven. We're seeing we're seeing that it's getting so bad in the world that people just don't care. They'd rather have Trump again. Thank God. He was a good president. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel. Even Fox News is realizing that. Give me your thoughts. Thank you.